Live with Megan G. Morris. Say hi.
Hey guys.
You're doing a beautiful piece.
Working on some color surrealism today. My process is a little different than other artists. When clients email in, they kind of give me some sort of concept to go off of, and then together we kind of like brainstorm imagery, or they just let me run with it and I do whatever I want, which is what Zach did today. So this is based on the tragedy of Cassandra, which is a Greek myth, and she was given the prophecy of speech, but then it was taken away. No one would believe a word she said. So I have a hand covering her mouth, a circle of fire. Here's my reference. A circle of fire is going to be circling around her eye. I'll have to draw some of that in there myself. And then I have one little eye drop, or teardrop I mean, coming down, talking about the prophecy of sight, but then her frustration and sadness that no one would believe anything she said. So that's what I tried to do with my surrealism. I try to like put images together in a way that does not look like just a collage. It really creates an image that tells a story. This is so funny. So, if you guys have any questions, kind of just make sure you type those in and hit us up. They can be personal, or they can be about tattooing, or they can be for Zach, my client here today.
Say hi, Zach.
Hello.
Fire is a tough one. Kind of like a rose. If you're really going for the realism feel, you really have to stick to what it looks like. I freehand a lot, but drawing fire is actually trickier than you'd think. All of these little shapes and nuances, they seem random, but if you just draw it and you don't draw it right, our minds really know. Like, we've all seen a lot of fire. We've had fires, we've lit candles, and our minds subconsciously know whether it looks right or whether it looks contrived and all the shapes are too similar, which is usually when you're drawing freehand, you keep drawing like the same shapes over and over again. So I decided to stencil my fire, which I kind of will do pretty often with fire. Decide how I want the edge of this tattoo. I'm not a... Oh, go ahead, Tim.
I got a question for Zach. Why did you choose this tattoo?
Love Greek mythology, and this is one of the better stories. You can just kind of imagine being gifted with something so awesome as being able to see the future, but also being cursed that no one will believe you. Like, how would you feel knowing something bad is going to happen, but you can't stop it?
One of the things that she foresees is the city of Troy burning, and at the height of her insanity, she was watching the city burn, and no one had believed her that it would happen.
Megan, a lot of people keep asking, how can they get in contact with you to try and make an appointment?
Well, guys, it is tricky to get in with an artist who's already kind of got a name built up in the industry, because we do get a lot of emails. Honestly, just keep emailing. Title your subject matter something interesting, like just give me a quote or give me a song. Say something in the subject that's simple and that would grab an artist. I'm not the one that actually reads the emails, my assistant does, and she looks for projects that really fit me as an artist, which don't list off, oh, I like apples and I like fucking angels, and I like dream catchers, and I like wolves. Like, don't list off what you like. Give me a concept, and then let me kind of brainstorm subject matter with you, because I know what looks rad as a tattoo. And I might think of things that you didn't think of, and I also know what's been done 100 times and what's cliche. I see it every day, but you guys aren't gonna know that stuff. So, you know, just kind of be open-minded in your email and be patient. Right now my books are closed. Truthfully, my life is like a fucking shit show right now, and I don't feel comfortable booking out more than, honestly, a month at a time, even though we kind of try to do 3 months at a time. Once I really get settled and figure out what's next for me in life, then I generally will book out 3 to 6 months at a time.
So a couple questions that I was saying. What machine are you using right now?
This is the FK Irons Edge, Spectra Edge. It's all wrapped up so you can't see it too well, but it's a rotary. I've got the cartridge system on here. I use Cheyenne cartridges. They don't sponsor me, but FK Irons does.
Hey,
Cheyenne, where you at? So, anyhow, the FK Irons earlier today saying he wants to get his hands on one. It's powerful. So I like to tattoo pretty fast. I've got one set up for black and gray and one set up for my color. And once I put my hands on this machine, I did not let go. I looked at Gaston and I said, I'm taking this prototype. Like, I don't want to tattoo with anything else right now. So I've been super happy with it.
And what kind of ink do you use the most? And what's your favorite brand?
Well, I'm sponsored by Eternal. Honestly, I've dipped in and out of different brands my whole career, but I've always come back to Eternal. It's what I started with, and I've gotten to see what it looks like 10 years later. I like the consistency and the thickness. I mean, there's a lot of good brands of ink out there now, so I like not only look for the way something holds, but just the way that it goes in, the way it feels on my machine when I'm dipping into it, and the color selection is important to me. Sometimes Eternal's overwhelming. They have so many colors, but I try to kind of figure out which are my favorites and then just limit my palette to those. Anyhow, it's Eternal ink. Yeah.
Christopher Jones wants to know, do you have any advice for an inspiring upcoming artist?
Advice for upcoming artists. Get out to conventions, talk to other tattooers, put yourself in uncomfortable positions where you're tattooing with people who are better than you. That's honestly the best advice there is. Other than that, it's not a fucking easy give. It's not an easy, like, take. You're not just gonna make it because you're a tattooer. You really, really have to want it. At this point, the industry is really competitive and it's only gonna get more competitive. So you can't be slack. You need to be pushing yourself every day. Every single tattoo you do, you need to make yourself want it to be better than the tattoo you did yesterday. There's some fucking advice.
Alexis, sorry, I don't know if this is how you say your last name, Cowgill, is tattooing what you've always wanted to do?
No, well, in 7th grade, I had like a brief thought of like tattooer. Like, I remember sitting at a desk somewhere and blew it off like before I could even turn it into a real thought. Like, I didn't understand it could be a career. I never considered it. Even when I got into it, at some point it was like, well, I'm just gonna do this because it'd be cool to learn, and then I'll go back and use my degree. But from a very young age, I was drawing on me and other people all the time. I mean, I got kicked out of nursery school, I got kicked out of daycare, I got kicked out of class. Like, all my whole life, I've been drawing on people with Sharpies and stamps and ink and getting pulled out by adults, getting hosed off in the yard. Fuck. So, I mean, I don't know. No, I didn't know shit about tattooing. I didn't know it was a real job. I'm still not sure it is. But, you know, I ended up here. I think that's what happens to passionate people. You just end up where you're gonna go.
What's your favorite thing about tattooing?
My favorite thing about tattooing?
Yeah, as a career, and you're like how it's impacted you.
Oh, fuck. Well, tattooing ruined my life. So, I can't talk about that. I lost my fucking marriage because I'm compulsive and I was never home. And art means way too much to me. So we won't talk about how it impacted my life. I mean, yeah, I get to travel around the world and I get to hang out with amazing people. Obviously, there's benefits and all of that. But what my favorite thing is that when...
Your favorite thing is Sammy? No.
My favorite thing is Sammy. My second favorite thing...
Look at that eye. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So, and that's not, the highlights aren't in there yet. So my favorite thing is that when I'm tattooing, as soon as I have the needle in the skin and I'm dipping into ink and I'm thinking about color, I feel comfortable. And there's very few times in my life where I feel comfortable. I feel confident. I feel like I know who I am. I mean, mostly when I'm around people, I don't know what to say or what to talk about because I'm kind of boring. I mean, I've just pretty much done art my whole life. I used to be cool, I think, but now I'm an adult and I'm super boring, and I don't know what to say always when I'm with other people. But when I'm tattooing, I'm so busy just looking at colors and making something that it's fulfilling, and my anxiety finally steps to the side, and I get to just relax a little.
So this would be your vacation?
What?
I said, so this would be your vacation?
Yeah, people ask me a lot about vacations, and like, I mean, I guess I took a vacation just recently when I went to Rome because one of my best friends was like, yo, what the hell? I don't even know how many years it had been since I took a real vacation, because every day, I mean, I do travel around the world, and I hang out with my client is kind of like hanging out with a friend, and I mean, I just don't take a lot of vacations. I kind of really like what I do, so I go home to visit my family, and I don't really consider that like a vacation. It's just another thing I want to do and get done. So, I mean, my life is like ridiculous. I don't have any kids. My house is paid for. My car is paid for. I draw pictures all day. Like, I don't really think, I don't work. I don't have a 7-day work week. I just fucking don't ever know what day it is, really. So like vacation is a different kind of term for me. I don't really use it a lot because I just kind of do whatever I want. I just happen to be a productive person, and so a lot of what I want to do is work.
Jonae Martin wants to know, how long have you actually been tattooing professionally?
Actually, let me rant and rave about this. I get super fucking irritated when people try to minimize the years they've been tattooing when they talk about it, because now we're all intimidated because there are new tattooers who have only been tattooing 2 years and they're really good. Well, I've been tattooing 10 years. My apprenticeship was 10 years ago. No, I wasn't good at first. Yes, I sucked. No, I didn't take it seriously. Professionally, as you'll hear people say, well, professionally, I've been tattooing, means when you started taking it seriously and you started putting out decent work. That was about 7 years ago for me, kind of. I went to my first convention and actually saw what you can do with this stuff. I saw Mike DeVries, Nico Hurtado's work, and that was 7 years ago. Then 5 years ago, I moved to Connecticut. I moved out of Maine, and I got where I could actually get 2 tattoo conventions. Christian Perez took me to my first tattoo convention and really was supportive. He works over at Hope Gallery with Joe Capobianco. Those guys are amazing. And yeah, I'd say 5 years ago, I really, really, really fucking got into it, committed to it, and I've just been trying to not just get better. I'm not just trying to get better. This is a big distinction you'll see as you really get into it. I'm trying to find myself as an artist in the field, because I'm not just trying to do realism like Nico or Mike did. I kind of really want to find, I want to find who I am in the artwork. And when you look at my pieces, I want it to feel like, oh, that's a Megan Jean Morris.
Katie says hello.
Hi, wife.
Oh shit.
Aww.
Hi, Katie. That's cool.
Laura Van Wielden, sorry. Do you think people who aren't into tattoos just don't understand this is an art?
People who aren't into tattoos don't understand a single fucking thing at all about it. And you can argue with me all fucking day. Until you get a tattoo, you don't know what it's like to make a commitment for the rest of your fucking life. Because not even marriage is a commitment like a tattoo at this point. A tattoo is a strong decision. It's a weird decision. You know you're going to be judged by other people. You know you might be limiting yourself here or there, but in some way you've decided it might be a good limitation. Okay, so maybe I'll only hang out with people who like tattoos, or who are accepting of me, or maybe they don't like tattoos but they're supportive of me. You're making a lot of decisions when you decide to get a tattoo. And people who never got one don't understand what that decision is. You can be, curious or interested or like them. I mean, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of like hanging out with a dude. I'm like, shit, I'm going to talk about this? I'm going to like hang out with a dude who doesn't have any tattoos right now. And I think he's pretty cool. I just don't like it when he talks to me about tattoos, because I'm like, Jesus, like, you don't fucking, like, oh, Jesus, man. I'm like, this is like the most annoying conversation in the world for me right now. Like, you don't eat your opinions about them, your questions, everything. Like, until you have a tattoo, maybe a couple of tattoos, you don't know shit about it. Is that too harsh?
How old were you when you got your first tattoo?
I was old for getting tattooed. I think I had finished college, so I think I was like 23. I waited. When I was a teenager, I had no interest in them. What happened was I started seeing them around, like, on people, on my friends, and I started like really liking them on my friends, and I was nervous about getting one. I never wanted one, and I started realizing, well, if I like them on them, I'd probably like them on me. So I got my first tattoo and went out to eat lunch afterwards. The tattoo artist was my boyfriend at the time, and he said, "Do you feel cooler?" And I said, "Yes, I do." Absolutely.
Here's a good one. Jessica, I think Suzuki, her last name. As a woman in this industry, do you get looked down upon, or does that push you to become a better tattoo artist?
I hate this question, and when I was younger, I tried to avoid it, and I also tried to say that it's the same and that it made no difference. And now that I'm older and I'm tired and I see things in retrospect, it made a huge difference. It's very different being a woman in this industry. A lot of the photographers and a lot of the magazine owners are sometimes just hitting on you, and sometimes you can't really even get anywhere if they don't hit on you or whatever. So that's shitty but true. Not everyone's creepy. There's definitely awesome people. The people here at Inked Magazine are amazing. People, do they take you seriously? I don't know. This is one of those I kind of just chose to ignore, because I don't give a fuck whether other tattooers take me seriously. I give a fuck whether my customers do and whether I like my own artwork. I think perhaps that they don't always take us seriously, but I've heard other women bitch about it. I know that I get judged. I know that I get judged for things I do a lot differently than a guy, but I think that happens anywhere. I'm talking about sleeping with people, in case that's unclear. But, oh, yeah, you guys can ask me questions about Queen.
I know they are.
Oh, okay. There's so many questions.
But go ahead with your answer.
Anyhow, I think that, yeah, it's definitely different being a woman, but I think in the end, truthfully, your work always speaks for itself. And if you do good work and you ignore all the bullshit, you'll be just fine.
A lot of people are asking, what's up with clean? And someone else says, can I marry you now?
Aww. The marriage proposals are really nice. They're really nice. I mean, you know, sometimes after a rough day, it's not a bad thing to come home to. What's up with Clean? I guess Clean and I are just friends. Holy moly, walls are falling down. We're just friends and the world is ending! No! You know, I really liked him. I've always wanted to be with an artist that I could create things with. But I'm not sure. I'm a super open person, so I hope Clean doesn't mind me sharing shit. But, you know, I think he's already been married before, and he has 2 kids, and he loves being a dad, but I think, as far as I can tell, I don't think he's in a place where he really wants a full-blown relationship. I think he's in a place where he wants to kick back and enjoy life, and he lives in Vegas, so that's like a good place to just do that. So we are friends, we do talk a lot, and I think that's it for now, because I'm looking for something a little more, like, I want love, you know? I want, like, full-blown, like, love. Like, not like, what's it called? Open relationship love? Fuck buddy? That's not what I'm looking for. So, you know, I was like thinking maybe it would go somewhere. We do have a lot in common, but then it didn't. So.
Would you be open to Spike making a love show for you, like The Bachelorette, but you and tattooed men?
Well, it's not something I ever expected to do. A love show. I kind of doubt a love show would work. But, I mean, I remember being young and watching that Tila Tequila, you know? Like, fuck, man. Yeah, she got to hang out in the hot tub, like, every night and just chill and be taken out to dinner all the time. I don't like normal dudes. I like fucking weirdos. So our show would definitely be interesting. Yeah, I like pretty weird dudes, eccentric, usually people who are terrible at having relationships. I had an ex-husband, you guys, by the way. I guess I still have him as an ex-husband. Yeah, he's still around. And he's literally my best friend. It was the best relationship I've ever had. That's the one where I was talking about, you know, tattooing it really took over my life for a while. My brother got real sick, and I realized life is short, and I wanted to, you know, really become the artist I wanted to be. And before I knew it, my marriage was just fucking gone. Totally my fault too. Sad story. So a love show. Fuck yeah, let's do it.
You want to know if you're taking on any apprentices?
Oh, that's such a good question. I'm sorry, guys. I really should take on an apprentice sometime soon here. I'm not. I can't even get a dog right now. I cannot get an apprentice. You guys are more work than a fucking puppy.
Zach, what was your first tattoo?
A really ugly son.
I had an ugly son too.
She did.
I got it from
What? You should show it. Hold on. Show that tattoo, please.
Where is it?
Oh,
Show both of them.
this is like a classic first tattoo.
Accurate.
I was
Okay.
18.
There it is.
And show the other one how bad it is too.
So for
Where's the-
people who
where's the
don't
other
have
one?
any tattoos,
Don't get those.
yeah, this is like
Oh, there you go.
where
Just-
people start as...
Just say no, kids.
I
Just say
did a
no.
sign too. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
first
like
shit
you
you
can
want. I
look
like
at someone's
Google
tattoo
sign.
and be like, oh, so this was your first tattoo.
Yep.
Because people who don't have any tattoos think a certain way about tattoos. I guarantee it. I stereotype all the time, and this one's dead on.
And this calf is the size of my head. And it's the size of a
Yes, I've got nice, thick, juicy legs I'm working with here.
You definitely put that picture up the other day and you're like, I love thick spaces.
I was like, nothing excites me more than a huge forearm.
Just so you know, I'll be the one stalking you.
Nothing
Ever on
excites
Instagram,
me
that's
more
me.
Good. This fire is feeling nice. Yeah, that's starting to feel like wind is just pulling it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, definitely don't use line work in your fire. What I will do at the end of this, just for artistic flair and fun, is I might take my 9-round shader and pull a line highlight here or there. And you could do a line dark, shader line, like dark here or there, but do it at the end. You want your fire to feel really soft.
Elizabeth Barnett has a suggestion.
Oh snap.
They should have an all-girls competition on Ink Master. Bring back all female contestants. What do you think?
They did. It's a good idea because they did it. It's called something Sirens of Ink Master or something. It was Leah Vendetta and Sarah Miller and some other chick and some other chick. I'm not into that kind of thing. I've never been, I think it's cool. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I personally have never wanted to section myself off into like a females only type of thing. I just like tattooing against human beings. I don't care whether you're a dude or a chick. It's just not my kind of thing.
Michael J, I'm not even going to try and say your last name, is 44 years old, too old to start learning how to tattoo?
If you are financially independently wealthy, no, it is not too old. You can start tattooing and you can learn how to tattoo whenever you want. If you're thinking that you're going to make a fantastic living off of doing it, if I were you, I would consider some other options first. If you want to make a pretty mediocre living off of doing it, you've probably got a good chance of doing that. So if you're like super into art and you love doing it and you can build yourself a little clientele, then realistically, yeah, you could do that.
Another person asked, has there ever been a tattoo that you either didn't want to do or refused to do? Whether it was the concept of it or placement or anything like that?
There's been I refuse tattoos on a daily basis, just because I'm really specific at this point about whether it fits me as an artist or not. There's tattoos I should have refused that I did. Those I remember. When I was just a little baby tattooer, I don't even tell this story because I feel so shitty about it.
There you go, guys, exclusive. Megan D. Moore story.
So I just didn't know yet the responsibility that we carry as tattooers, and there was a 18-year-old boy that came into our shop, and I was dying to tattoo anything, just anything I could whenever I could, and man, it's hard to, it is a little hard to focus on tattoo. So this 18-year-old boy came into the shop and he wanted he wanted some fucking family thing that was gonna be too expensive. And so I said it'll be this much, and he said, oh, and he wanted it on his chest. And he goes, well, how about just Man in Black on my neck? It's that Johnny Cash song.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you sure? It was 18. Well, I was only like 23.
Wait,
so
did that have nothing to do with the first
it
one?
had nothing
Oh.
to do with the first tattoo, and he wanted these big, bold black letters on his fucking neck. Like, not even the back of his neck, like the side of his neck. And it was his first tattoo.
Wow.
It was his first tattoo. And I said, okay. I checked. He's sure. And, like, I would never do that today. I would tell that 18-year-old to sit down on my couch because we're going to have a talk. Yeah, like, and I would have a talk until they understood that they need to think about that tattoo for like a fucking years before they do that, and they should get a first tattoo somewhere else. Anyhow, so that, you know, I should have said no. And then there was this other chick, mother of God, this is a bad story. Some dude was like tearing me apart on Instagram, like, this female artist, I won't say her name, but she was on a TV show and she lives in this town. I was like, oh, thanks for not saying my name. This was a while ago. This was after I did Tattoo Titans, not Tattoo Ink Master. He was like, oh, I had to fix this tattoo. Look how shitty it looks. And like, the way I used to work more than now is I would build layers. I would do 2 layers to finish a tattoo instead of finish whole sections. So this girl came in and she wanted a dream catcher and a fucking sunflower. And I was like, yo, I don't think that's really what I would tattoo. Like, that's a classic tattoo. A lot of people could do a nice job. My stuff's like a little more abstract and weird. And she begged me to be her tattooer. And then during the design process, we kept running into struggle and problems. And 6 times I said, yo, you can get this done cheaper by a person who's going to do it exactly the way you want to, right down the road. I said, if you want me to do it, we're going to do it differently. Like, I want this like painterly sunflower, like moving through the dream catcher, becoming, you know, dreamlike to solid. And anyhow, I started the tattoo, and I guess it didn't look like much, or it was too expensive or whatever. And she had someone else finish it, and he fucking like disgustingly just like lined the whole thing. Not even, you know, just not the way it was designed to be done at all. And I should have stopped earlier in the process. And now I have. Like, if I mean, I book out days and I make a lot of money in a day. But if someone shows up and we're hitting some sort of struggle in our design time, I don't care. I don't care about money. If the tattoo's not going to be good, if I'm not going to feel comfortable tattooing you, then we're not doing this. I back up and I shut it down right away now. So, you know, it happened recently. A girl came in and we struggled for about 3 hours, which is too long, to try and lay out a design. And she kept changing her mind and blah, blah, blah. And I just said, okay, well, you know, you pretty much wasted my whole day already, but I don't care, you know, I have nowhere else to be now, so we can kind of go through this a little bit longer, but I'll tell you right now, like, we're not tattooing today. Like, it's just not worth it. You know, if it's not moving smoothly, you should find a different artist. You know, if you don't click with someone, you don't click with someone. And if you're an artist and someone's really struggling against you, very politely, don't do the tattoo. Unless you've got kids and you have to feed them. I mean, fuck. There we go. I live this, like, fucking life, you know? I don't know. I don't need money. I want to be happy with my artwork at the end of the day.
Someone from Maine said, we miss you here in Maine.
Jesus Christ. I miss Maine every day of my life, you guys.
Would you ever consider moving back?
I can't move back to Maine right now. I actually am looking for property. I think I'd like to buy a house up there just so I do feel like I've got my roots in Maine. Footing in the real world is fucking crazy, dude. I've learned that people are nasty. People get away with treating people like shit, which you can't do in little towns because everyone knows what you did. And you know, it's really, I've had to learn a lot, and I'm kind of sensitive for someone to be out in LA and New York and fucking, it's hard sometimes. I miss Maine a lot. But I can't do the artwork that I want to do in Maine. You know, people can't afford fucking full sleeves and back pieces in 2 months. You know, they want, you know, there's not even the demand that I would need. I could do it, I just wouldn't be able to be the artist that I want to be. So, you know, I'll come back to Maine, but it's like kind of looking like for retirement. Unless, you know, life has its twists. I mean, there's a chance I could get pregnant. Shit.
Flipping their scripts a little bit, William Dennis Jr. says, do you like doing pinups? Have you ever done a pinup? That's my question.
You know, I'm fucking shocked when this comes up that people, I forget about it, but people don't hit me up for pinups. I honestly think I've done one. So that's super weird because people hit me up for chicks all the time. Oh, you know, I did one on Tattoo Titans. That was that like little TV show. Do I like doing pinups? Yeah, I think I would love to do some pinups. Real classic ones. You can't get all weird. You can't be like, make it look like my wife. Fucking no, dude. Your wife probably does not look like a pinup chick. Sorry. Jesus. You know? Okay, give her brown hair I can handle, but like, come on. Oh, you want me to make her a little uglier for you? Sure, here we go. Like, shit, man. Like, no one, you know, I mean, not very many people really look like a pinup chick. So, come on, guys. Yeah, I'd love to do pinup chicks.
Pinups. These questions are really crazy.
How crazy?
There's like, someone said before, something about you want 100 horse-sized ducks or 100 duck-sized horses.
Dude, duck-sized horses.
Duh. Dude, totally duck-sized horses. Totally. Like little tiny horses, I would die. I would just die.
I don't know who asked that question, but you're welcome.
I mean, a horse-sized
you know what
duck would
Sammy
be
always
great.
says?
100 of them.
He says to like get real close because people like to actually watch the tattooing.
Oh, yeah. As long as I'm not in your way.
You're not in my way.
I am.
Sammy, I like bumped his camera with my needle. I was like, with my hand or something. So.
Oh, do you know the next tattoo convention you'll be working at?
Yeah, tattoo conventions are weird. Like they're weird to book because usually I already have people in those places that hear that I'm coming like first. And anyways, I'm doing Empire, which I'm really excited about. It's my favorite convention on the East Coast. It's Empire State Convention. It's in New York. And that's looking cool, huh? Empire State. I booked a full 3-day sleeve for Empire, and it's actually on a black dude, which is cool. A lot of really good tattooers seem to like avoid tattooing dark skin, which I think is really shitty for people who are trying to get good tattoos and they happen to be kind of tan. I've sort of been tattooing like a few darker people recently, and I've really enjoyed it. It forces me to up my contrast, use fewer shades. I kind of just use a black, a medium tone, and a light gray, and it forces me to design real big and open, a little bit graphic pieces. And what I like about that is that there's a real sense of achievement when you can stand across the room and see a tattoo, a nice sleeve on a black man. I feel like, damn, like I'm so happy I could give him that, because so many artists would have just like made his arm look fucking darker, you know, and you'd have to be like right up on it and saying, oh, I like your tattoo, what is it, you know? And like I think that a lot of people with darker skin, not just black dudes, but anyone who has a lot of melatonin in their skin, the darker your skin, the softer your skin. And tattooers, not enough tattooers know that. So they see the dark skin and they think they have to tackle it. And they go in there and they try to drill it with the black to get it to show up. And that's wrong, guys. It's so wrong. That skin is soft. It's softer than white skin. And you'll scar it, and that's why so many people with darker skin have like raised up tattoos. You just got to be real gentle. Light shades of gray actually will show up really well on darker skin. You just got to let it heal. You can't see it very well while you're tattooing. It is a challenge to see well while you're tattooing. And you're not going to get that amazing Instagram photo because it's very hard to photograph. But, you know, when I meet a nice person who's ready to invest financially in good artwork and let the artist, myself, really brainstorm and do my job, I'm really excited to work with them. So I'm working on a really nice man named Matthew at the Empire State Convention, and we're going to be doing a 3-day sleeve on his arm.
Oh my
Where
God,
sleeves
what?
go.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, okay, I need a little like nude blush, I need some plum, I need some deep red, and then I'm like, sleeve, yeah, you know, it's very confusing.
Somebody asked, what is the meaning behind this tattoo and why did you choose this one specifically?
I'm gonna let Zach answer that.
I just really like the idea of the myth because
You gotta
if
start
you-
over, they didn't hear the
Oh,
the
so Cassandra was she was gifted with prophecy, so she could see the future.
Cassandra?
Cassandra.
The tragedy of
Yeah.
But no one
Cassandra.
believed her, right?
Cassandra, and then she scorned the god Apollo by not sleeping with him. So he made it so that she could see the future, but nobody would believe her. And it eventually drove her insane. And it's just kind of interesting to think about being able to know something bad is going to happen, but you can't do anything to prevent it. I really like this image because it kind of shows the pain in her face, and it shows the fire from the fall of Troy.
This is my life.
Yeah.
This is my fucking life.
Basically your life
Everyone
is
was
this guy.
attacked by
It's just really
Apex,
big.
the West.
Yes. Yes.
I just recently took a Greek mythology class, so I'm like,
I know that.
The Greeks were on. The Greeks have some great stories.
Yeah.
And great sources for tattoos, everybody.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
sources.
whole class I was like,
You did that? You did that? What's the most painful tattoo you have?
On my chest.
How long did that take?
It was 4 sittings, probably about 12 hours total. And the artist that I used did it in layers. So he started on my sternum and radiated outward, and then chose another color, started on my sternum, radiated outward, and did that for 5 different colors. So by the end of it, I was swearing like a sailor.
Last tattoo I got, I just told him I hated him. 4 hours into it, I was like, stop.
A little tattoo tip here for any of you that tattoo. See this real soft shade? The nose, the edge of the nose turns into like a real soft lip into the eyebrow. I'm gonna do that here. I laid down my like base layer, which is just plain old like dark flesh tone, and then I turn my machine way down, so it's like you barely hear it running. And then I grab, you know, whatever color, and I really gently just kind of soften that edge with it. And that way you get that, you know, sculpting, like 3D, like real life effect. See that? It just layers right on top, and it's real soft. And then if I want, I can dip that in water so it's even later, and kind of just feather it out.
How many hours are you into this tattoo right now?
I don't know. We started at 2. We took a break to eat lunch. And honestly, you know, this filming stuff really makes it slow down.
You're welcome, you'll be here till 11.
Yeah, okay. Wait, what?
I said, I know, I thought you had, I was like,
Oh,
you're
okay.
welcome. You'll be here till 11.
Okay.
Have fun.
So, this looks like shit right now, but that's just because I gently, real gently marked in this like cheek line because I had to go put this black eye in there and the red in the fire, and I don't want to put my skin tone in until all that's there so that I'm not contaminating the skin tone with the darker colors. So I just marked that in really lightly with my shader, kind of like the fire right here. You know, that's really lightly scratched in there with some yellow, just so that, because I knew I'd wipe that area of my stencil off. Oh, and I am using the H2 Ocean Nothing Glide right now. That's the ointment that has some lidocaine in it. It's pretty cool stuff. I like how it feels on the skin. I prefer it to A&D ointment.
Are they bothering you too much, Megan?
Nope. We should
maybe.
probably wrap it up kind
Yes.
of soon so that we can,
Focus.
yeah.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you for watching, guys. Thanks for all the questions too.
We'll have the exclusive pick tomorrow.